Welcome to the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report, presented by Yamaha.
Hello everyone, and we are so happy to have you back watching the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report. I'm Brie Gabrielle, and right beside me is Captain Rick Murphy, and man, do we have a show for you tonight. So strap on those fighting belts, because we are talking all about sailfish. But before you speak, we have to say hi to Mr. Dave Farrell over there at the Workbench.
How's it going, Brie?
I smell you.
Of course you do. It's the fish. I promise, it's the fish.
All
It's
right.
not me.
Okay, well.
I've reapplied before
Rick,
I
what do you
got
think
here.
about that?
Well, speaking of fish, Brie, I'm going to tell you the reason why Dave's got all those ballyhoos over
Tell
there
us.
is because we're talking about sailfish this week.
Of course.
So let's take a look at the Marlin Magazine or Saltwater Sportsman photos for the week. And I got to tell you, the sailfish actually are one of my favorite fish to catch because certainly they jump all over the place.
They're fun.
And as they jump, the one thing that you're going to see after this 90 minutes, Brie, is that they leave you with that certain impression in your mind about how they just are so magical. Whether it's a falling away shot, it's certainly something that you always remember. So let's get started, and it sounds like where are we going from here?
Well, we are going to kick off the night down in the southeast region with Captain Jimbo Thomas. Jimbo, 2 weeks in a row, I can say I caught the theme species with you. First dolphin, now sailfish, which we caught two of.
Well, hey, Rick, hey, Brie. And
Hey.
as you know, you don't have to travel to some exotic location to catch sailfish because we have some of the best sailfishing in the world right here in the southeast region. We actually catch more sails today than when I started running the Thomas Flyer 34 years ago, mainly because I believe we know how to catch them better. At least that's what I tell everybody. And then we got catch and release. That's also helped. And the use of circle hooks has also had a positive impact on their numbers. Now, catches of 10 or more sailfish in a day are quite common. Back when I started, if you caught one in a week, you were top dog at the dock. But things have changed. Now, we do catch them year-round, but December through May is peak time to catch sailfish. And kite fishing in 80 to 250 feet of water is the most popular method to target sails. And we like to use live threadfin herring, goggle-eyed sardines, and pilchards. And then if there isn't enough wind, try slow trolling or drifting your live baits. Also trolling rig ballyhoo or mullet. That's the old-fashioned way. That still accounts for quite a few sails these days. We like to use 20-pound tackle. That's more than adequate for most all of our sailfish. We rig our 20-pound test with a 10 to 15-foot piece of 40 to 60-pound monofilament or fluorocarbon leader, then use a 6.0 to 7.0 circle hook. Now, the best conditions, what we look for when we go out there looking for sails, is blue water, north current, and north wind. And now, we've been catching sails pretty much on a daily basis in the last few weeks. And on the days that the current is moving good, that's when they are biting the best. And we've been catching them in 120 to the 180-foot range. And I got a photo here. And the winning photo for this week's contest comes from Melanie Gregory of Miami, Florida. And this is a sailfish that she caught on a fly rod at our very own Casa Vieja Lodge. And if you like, check out the Thomas Flyer Fishing Facebook. See how you can win your own Thomas Flyer T-shirt.
All right, Jimbo, before we continue on, I want to take a look at the Navionics from the southeast region. Now, guys, the one thing that you need to understand is we're talking about government cut right here in downtown Miami, and as the cut itself flows offshore, what you're going to find happen is you have a severe drop-off, and that severe drop-off is going to allow the current to stack up right here, and it's a great place for bait that is coming out of the cut to actually stack up. Now, the key to this is that when the bait shows up here, on the incoming tide, it has a tendency to push a lot of blue water right up on the edge. On the outgoing tide, because of the dredging that's going on, as it comes out, it has a tendency to dirty up. So just look for that real clean edge. You'll find the bait, and then you'll also find a lot of sailfish as well as kingfish in that area. All right, what else you got for us offshore, Jimbo?
You got it. Well, along with those sails, there's some nice kingfish being caught throughout the region. In the Miami area, we've been catching 10 to 30-pound kings in 100 to 160 feet of water on live herrings and pilchards, fished under our kites and also on our flat lines. And then up in the Hillsborough area, Captain Art Sapp, he's been doing best on the kite, and he's been using live goggle eyes, and he's also fishing in the 100 to 160-foot range. Aboard the Thomas Flyer, we've been catching these kings on 20-pound tackle. We use a 40 to 60-pound monofilament leader, and then we attach an 18-inch piece of number 3 or number 4 wire leader to prevent cutoffs. Then we've been using a 5/0 J hook tied onto our wire with a haywire twist. These fish have been biting best in the early morning or late in the afternoon, although we have been getting bites throughout the day. And late afternoon is when you have your best shot at one of these smoker kings. Now moving inshore, all of the inlets have been holding tarpon, as well as the bridges of the Intercoastal Waterway and the deeper holes in Biscayne Bay. If you're fishing in the inlets, you want to drift big live shrimp or live crabs in the early mornings and the evenings. And if there's an obvious rip or color change, that's where you want to fish. Then in the deeper holes, you want to fish live crabs. They're going to be your best bait. Shrimp will work, but in those holes, you got a lot of pinfish and small snappers and stuff, and everything eats them shrimp. Put a crab on there, it eliminates all the small stuff. Only the decent fish are going to eat those crabs. And again, if you see a tide line or color change, that's where you want to drift your live crab. If you're going to fish the bridges, live shrimp, live mullet, and swimming or diving plugs fished along the shadow lines on the incoming tide is going to get the best bites. I spoke to Captain Dave Costio aboard the Not Nancy. He's been finding tarpon in Government Cut in the evenings, drifting live shrimp in the 70 to 100 pound range.
All right, Jimbo, I want to tell you about this picture that one of my good buddies sent in, Roger Fernandez, fishing with Captain Eric Hertzstedt. They were tarpon fishing off of Elliott Key, and look, a ray went swimming by, and he catches this big, beautiful cobia on a 12-weight fly rod. Good job, Roger. All right, Jimbo, what else you got for me inshore?
You got it. I've been talking with our good friend, Captain Joe Gonzalez. He's been doing well on permit on the Oceanside Flats at Biscayne Bay from Ragged Key south to Angelfish Creek. He's been catching the permit on crab pattern flies and also on live crabs. He's been fishing the light-colored, hard-bottom flats on the top of the incoming tide. And he said when fishing with those live crabs, you don't want to lead the fish with the cast, but instead throw your bait right at the fish. When he hears that splash of the crab hitting the water, the fish will usually put on the brakes, make a U-turn, and he'll eat that bait. Also, try to match the size of the crab to the fish you're casting at. And Captain Joe, he's also been finding the permit hanging out with the tarpon in the potholes and the inlets. He's been getting these permit while he's tarpon fishing with the live crabs. When he gets a bite and the fish doesn't jump right away, he knows that he's got a permit on the other end. Now, I got another photo here. This is a beautiful permit. This is caught by Roger Berry, visiting from Guernsey Channel Islands, wherever that is. And this is one of several permits that he caught with Captain Joe Gonzalez.
All right, great report from the Captain Harry Southeast region. Jimbo, I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the hot spots from the Southeast region. Captain Jimbo recommends this week that you're going to go inshore. Big tarpon and permit are eating live crabs drifted through the inlets, and then offshore, fish live baits in 100 to 200 feet of water has been producing a mixed bag of sailfish, kingfish, mahi, and an occasional blackfin tuna throughout the whole region, Brie.
That was a great report, Jimbo, but
Yeah,
you
way to
can't
start us
forget
off.
to come out and see us at the IGFA in Dania on May 15th, where I was actually having lunch with my Nana today, and I saw Henry, who is a fan of the show, and he's having his first baby girl today, and I wanted to give you a shout out to your wife as well and your new baby girl. Anyways, let's go way up to the Panhandle region where Pat Deneen, laugh at me, is on the line. What's going on up there, Pat?
Hey, Brie, how
Hey.
you doing this evening? I'll tell you what, we do have sailfish in the Panhandle, not as many as Jimbo has down off southeast Florida, but we do find them from May through October. And I know there's some up there right now because just 2 weeks ago I saw one while I was out cobia fishing. Primarily, our sailfish are caught incidentally by anglers targeting other species like king mackerels, usually when they're slow trolling live cigar minnows or herrings around bait balls or over some structure. They'll stumble across the sailfish. The sailfish do get targeted, though, in the fall. A little bit deeper offshore of the edge towards the nipple and the knuckle, basically from about 250 foot of water out to 600 foot of water. And the guys will troll spread of ballyhoo, teasers, and dredges, and can expect to find some sailfish at that time of the year. We get them all sizes. I've caught little tiny baby ones in the dip net at night while sword fishing, and then we also have them up to the full-grown 30 to 50 pounders. So the sailfishing is up there, but it's certainly not something that we do a lot of.
All right, tell me about the jack fishing then, Pat.
Yeah, Rick, the amberjack bite's been really good this past week on wrecks in 200 to 400 foot of water. Captain Ed Goebel on the Linda Lucille out of Destin, he had a really nice catch of fish this past week with one of them pushing 80 pounds. He's fishing pinfish, midwater on a Carolina rig over some of those deeper wrecks. A live mullet, a bluefish, pinfish, hardtail, they all make great jack bait. Typically, you want your baits to be really active and frisky to get more bites from the jacks. Use a circle hook, 10 to 15 feet of leader, so your bait has plenty of room to run around. And then when you mark the jacks with your sounder, drop your baits to that depth and hold on. When you do hook a fish, make sure you keep some other baits in the water while you're fighting that fish, because often that one hook fish will fire up the bite and you'll get, double headers going on. 20 to 40 pounders are all considered good-sized jacks for us.
All right, what's inshore? I saw another jack.
Yeah, sticking with the jack theme, our beaches right now, Rick, are just loaded up with schools of Jack Crevalle migrating east to west. And you're going to usually find them on that second sandbar and then inshore of that in the gully up on the first sandbar. And there's giant schools of them. Some of them, several hundred fish in the school. When you find them, cast a skitter walk out ahead of the school of fish and just rapidly skip it back across the surface, and you'll get a really great topwater bite. Or with a fly rod, a streamer, or a crease fly does real well. Just have to move your fly or your lure real actively. The fish are running 15 to 20 pounds, and they're good sport and fun to catch. They're a day saver many times. There's a photo there I sent in of a pretty much typical jack from this time of year that was caught last week on one of my charters.
All right, it's good.
And then,
go ahead.
Yeah, moving inshore, Rick, speckled trout bite. I spoke with got two good reports, one from Captain Eddie Woodall over in Pensacola, and the other from Captain Brent Remedi over in Port St. Joe. And Eddie's been catching them in the sound around the canal mouths and up inside the canals. Free line and shrimp. When the current or the wind's too strong, he's put a little split shot up above the shrimp. And then over in Port St. Joe, Captain Brent's been finding them up on the flats and in the potholes of the flats around Eagle Harbor. The water's been a bit stained because we've had so much rain, so a clacker bobber with a shrimp or a soft plastic is a good way to go find them. And the trout fishing should just keep getting better as the water warms up and hopefully clears up a little bit.
All right, great report, Pat. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the blue water outrigger hotspots from the Panhandle region. Captain Pat says inshore Pompano on the beaches of Holiday Isle and jetties east and in the morning using sand fleas and jigs. And then offshore, amberjacks using live baits on wrecks and 300 feet of water is going to work for those AJs.
Sounds good, Rick. Well, coming up next, we'll be going off the deep end with Dave Farrell over at the Workbench and then head on over to see what the East region has to offer. Stay hooked on the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report.
They're swimming. They're swimming.
The Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Chevy. Find new roads. Best parts, best prices. Bennett Auto Supply. Yeti Coolers. Wildly stronger. Keep ice longer. CCA Florida, the voice of recreational anglers for over 25 years. Contender Boats, performance through innovation. Humminbird, simply, clearly, better. And King Sailfish Mounts, www.kingsailfish.com.
The Chevrolet Cruze, loved in 119 countries around the world. Proof we're not so different after all. It's the new world.
Yamaha's next generation V6 4-strokes are changing the game.
Mid-range power was awesome.
Fuel, the burn, it's unbelievable.
Couldn't believe the speed and the fuel economy is pretty impressive.
I mean, I couldn't believe the power. It was like it was more like doing a quarter mile on a drag strip.
And them things are like, it's a whole nother game. So I made the switch.
Experience the difference for yourself during the Yamaha Discover V6 Offshore Demo Tour. See why we call it the Game Changer.
It's been said that a bad day of fishing is better than a good day at the office. But down here in the Florida Keys, we have to disagree. Because with over 200 of the world's best charter boat captains and guides, there's no such thing as a bad day of fishing. The Florida Keys and Key West.
continuing the revolution. Faster, drier, even better built. Designed around Yamaha's latest technology outboards. Still built by the same craftsmen and anglers who launched the Bay Boat Revolution. Whether chasing world records, or time on the water with the family, or anything in between, there's a new Pathfinder model for you. Pathfinder, #1 for a reason, still.
Now it's time to go over the news and notes from the FWC. On May 2nd is Boating and Fishing Safety in Brooksville. May 10th is the Women's Fishing Clinic in Fernandina. And May 16th through the 18th is Ladies Let's Go Fishing in Treasure Coast. For more information and events, you can go to myfwc.com. Now it's time to go off the deep end.
We're over here at Hummingbird's Jägermeister Workbench, and we're going to talk about off the deep end. Sailfish, certainly you got to go off the deep end to find them. So
yes, you
tell
do.
me.
Well, you know, Florida is probably one of the best places to go in the world to catch a sailfish. I mean, a lot of people catch their first one here. As a matter of fact, the sailfishing in the early 40s started big game fishing in the world from the Palm Beaches. You know, guys going out and catching big sailfish and sometimes tarpons started that whole deal.
Wow.
So, you know, the catching a sailfish is a long tradition in the state of Florida. You know, my wife's relatives used to catch them and smoke one on Thanksgiving Day, which we don't do anymore usually, but they used to do that every Thanksgiving. So, but anyway, there's 3 distinct ways that we catch sailfish in Florida, from Fort Pierce all the way down to West Palm. They're trolling dead baits, and they're trolling these kind of dead baits, you know, ballyhoo mostly. They're pulling a dredge for a big teaser. They festoon this thing with a bunch of mullets, and it swims like a giant school of fish. And on one side they'll also have a teaser made full of squids. Usually a green mold craft squid is probably the most common teaser that's known. But the bait that they're going to put out is usually nowadays a circle hook ballyhoo. And they use a circle hook because all the tournaments require them, and they work. That's another good reason to use them.
So you've created a bridle here.
Yeah, what this is called the X on the head, and it's pretty much just 3 overhand knots. And what you do is you just make that X head on the knot right there, and then you slip the hook underneath of it. It's easy. Just
Not when you're blind like I am. I don't have my glasses.
I got you. Well, it slips underneath that knot.
Help me, Dave.
It slips underneath that knot. You've got it all in there, dude.
Because I couldn't see.
I got you. Well, it slips underneath that knot, and then it runs like that. And if you're pulling from the front up here, that thing's going to swim. And you can either use it like that as a skipping bait, or you can put a chin weight underneath of it like this to make it swim. And we'll put these swimming baits in the flat, and then, you know, because they're swimming really good, and we'll put these skipping baits out on the long so that we can see them. Some guys do it exactly the opposite, but I don't like putting my swimming baits out on my long because I can't see them as good when they're swimming really good in the water.
Mm-hmm.
If they're back too far, then I can't see the fish come up behind them. And if we see the fish come up behind this bait before he eats it, our chances of catching him goes way up, because the angler can get ready and drop back these circle hooks and drop back that bait. And because when the fish eats it, he has to swallow a circle hook for it to work. And if he doesn't swallow it and the guy's dropping back freely, then you'll bring the head back. And that's the sancocho, and that's not what we want.
Okay, so explain that though, because circle hooks aren't designed to gut hook the fish.
Correct.
But explain why you mean swallow.
Well, when that hook is swallowed down, as you come tight and you don't jerk on the rod, you just come tight, it'll come up and find the corner of the mouth and pop right over and go right in the corner. Don't push it all the way in. You know, that thing will go right over the corner, and then you're in. And it won't come off either once he's on. Now, the most common way from Fort Pierce down to the Keys is kite fishing. We got a big AFCO kite over there, and what they'll do is they'll fly one of these big AFCO kites or any of the other fishing kites that they make, and every 75 feet from that kite down 75 feet, there'll be a swivel with a little release clip on it. And when that little release, and then you put your bait in this clip, so that your bait is just skipping right on top of the water. A live bait, by the way. It's live bait kite fishing. And what they'll do is from this clip, there'll be a line that goes all the way down to the water and a little live bait on it. And when a fish comes up and eats it, the clip will release, and you got an automatic drop back to the fish. And hopefully you're using a circle hook and he'll be on there. Now, the last way is down in the Keys, is they like to run and gun. They'll run to showering ballyhoo on the reef. You know, they'll see the fish in there showering the ballyhoo. So they'll get some live ballyhoos and they'll run up there, and usually with a spinning rod, they'll cast those live ballyhoos and they'll hook them like that up through the bottom of the jaw with a circle hook now. This is how we did it the other day with Alex Adler, just right up through the jaw, throw them into the school of feeding sailfish, boom, you're on. And now we got a sailfish in the Keys.
Very, very informative. Obviously, something that you are very familiar with.
Something that I know about, finally.
Good job.
Thank you.
You know, speaking of something and a good job, Brie has been doing a great job for us. So, Brie, kindly take us to our next region, please.
Why, thank you, Rick. I would hate to be a sailfish when Dave's on the boat, that's for sure. All right, we are now talking with Captain Mike Holliday in the East region, where if we find the bait, we find the sailfish. Right, Mike?
That's pretty much it, Brie. You know, we're kind of on the tail end of our sailfish season. The main body of fish are down in Jimbo's region in the southeast. And the real key is when the sardines show up, it concentrates the fish around the bait. The bite's been kind of slow, but really picked up in the last week with those northerly winds and then the arrival of the sardine schools, particularly off Palm Beach County. It seems like the guys that are chasing dolphin, that are working their way shallow into 80 to 150 feet of water, those are the guys that are having multiple sailfish days. Captain Scott Fawcett and Captain Rufus Wakeman of Stewart, they were fishing south of Stewart off Loran Tower this week, and that's what they ran into. A lot of sails in shallow, dolphin out deep. Best action's coming on live bait, sardines, threadfins, pilchards, but, you know, rigged ballyhoo on a monofilament leader, that'll also always raise fish. The bait has been concentrated on the reefs and wrecks, so don't be afraid if you mark it, you know, to troll circles around those areas and see if you can get a fish or two up. A lot of them are coming up in multiples. If you see a free jumper, it's likely heading south. That's the way they're migrating. So draw a point to intercept the fish south of where you saw it jump. Head that way, and you'll likely intercept it. The average sailfish in my region, 30 to 50 pounds right now. And now we've also had a late season push of cobia. And really in the last week, it's really lit up pretty good. The interesting thing about it is that the fish all seem to be out deep in anywhere from 50 to 300 feet of water. Off Palm Beach County, the banded rudderfish showed up in fourth, and that's got the bull sharks all stacked up and eating those rudderfish. And the cobia are hanging out with the sharks. All that action is taking place along the edge off of Palm Beach County in 90 to 150 feet of water. Where I was talking to Captain Butch Constable out of Jupiter. He had 7 cobia one day, 5 cobia the next day, so that bite's been really good. And then off Martin and St. Lucie counties, the cobias are on the wrecks that are out deeper, the Halsey, the Amazon, the David T, and also on leatherback turtle. And a lot of the cobia action's coming from the guys that are slow trolling live baits for dolphin and sailfish and kings. They're hooking a cobia, you know, and having half a dozen fish following it up to the boat. So you want to be prepared for that. Have a spinning rod or 3 rigged with 1 to 3 ounce chartreuse hookup jig, or a Bass Assassin dye dapper in that lime truce, you know, that lime truce color, something bright. Bring a big net so you can land the fish quickly before the sharks can get aggressive on them. Average cobia in my region, 15 to 40 pounds right now.
All right, let's go inshore, Bubba.
Well, the snook are definitely on the move. The key is to fish where there's good concentrations of bait. Excuse me, either mullet, pilchards, or shrimp. The mouth of the Ermine River, the seawalls in the South Fork of the St. Lucie River, and the mouth of Taylor Creek have produced a lot of big fish in the last week by guys either fishing live mullet or starting early and throwing topwater plugs. The Roosevelt Bridge in Stewart's got a lot of snook on it. Pilchards are working during the day, shrimp at night, and it seems like you know, a lot of those fish are in the slot or under the slot. And we're also starting to see a lot of smaller males pushing into the inlet. And those snook are holding tight to the shoreline. Live shrimp, pinfish, 4-inch sea shads in that Houdini color, those are all working in those areas. If you're looking to catch numbers of snook, fish the docks in the Indian River from the power lines all the way up to Midway Road, or work the intercoastal docks from Hope Sound down to Jupiter, average snook 4 to 10 pounds. I got a photo there. That's Ed Restaino, and he's holding a big snook his son Marco caught. They were fishing a seawall in the St. Lucie River. That fish had a live mullet pitched up against the wall on a high tide. The other bite, the big female sea trout, are starting to push into the shallows. So topwater plugs, 5-inch Bass Assassin Water Boy colored dye dappers, those will get your bite from dawn to about 8 a.m. You want to work the sandy potholes in the grass along the entire west bank of the Indian River from Walton Road all the way north of Fort Pierce to Torpy Road. All that stretch has been really good. good clean water in that area. Look for schools of mullet. Fish the edges of the mullet schools. Make the longest cast possible because trout over 6 pounds are kind of spooky. This is also a good time to fish the deeper flats off Middle Cove, Queens Cove, and Bulldozer Bay with a live sand perch or a pinfish under a popping cork with a 30-pound monofilament leader and a 4.0 VMC Kale hook. The average sea trout in my region is going to be 2 to 4 pounds. But a lot of big fish showing up. We had some 10-pounders caught this week, guys.
Man, those are some big trout. Mike, hey, tell me a little bit about the bass fishing. I really like 10-pound bass, if there's such a thing.
There are, and this is sort of the time of year when the bass fishing heats up in the St. Johns River, up around the Palatka area. And, I'm talking to the anglers, not as much big fish, but big numbers, 30 to 50 fish mornings right now. Most of those fish are under 4 pounds. There are some larger fish coming off the docks and the areas with good current around Seven Sisters Island. At dawn, you can find schooling fish up on the shallow bars. So throw, a topwater plug or those Boss Shiner swim baits when the sun gets up. Switch over to a Bass Assassin Elite Shiner in that bluegill or ripper color, or just fish a live shiner. If you're looking for the bigger fish around the docks and the feeder creeks, you want to fish a June bug or gold pepper shiner colored twitch worm, rigged Carolina style. The key right now is to be on the water early, catch a schooling fish, then find the areas with good moving water when the day heats up, and then you'll find the feeding bass.
All right, great job, Mike. Great report from the Bennett Auto Supply East Region. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the Waterway Cafe hotspots from the East Region, Brie. Inshore, snook, tarpon at night in the Fort Pierce Inlet on the outgoing tide, live mullet, shrimp, and a 3/8-ounce jig head or a flare hawk. And then offshore, kingfish in 90 to 150 feet of water from Boynton Inlet north to Juneau Pier. Live blue runners, sardines, goggle eyes on a stinger rig, and get them in quickly because the sharks are really bad. Man, there's sharks everywhere.
I know. Crazy. Don't like those sharks.
Did you see that guy hugging the fish?
I did.
That's cool,
I
hugging
wanna
a
hug
fish.
All right, well, don't swim off. When we return, we're going to head towards the Southwest region and then on down to the Keys, only on the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report.
You don't know nothing about hugging fish. You're a swimmer.
The Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Bass Assassin and Saltwater Assassin, the best lures, period. Blue Water Outriggers, everything for your outdoor adventures. Guy Harvey Clothing by Aftco. Croquis, made in the USA. Drummond Community Bank. Costa, see what's out there. And Casa Vieja Lodge, 5-star angling in beautiful Guatemala.
What is CCA? CCA has been representing recreational fishermen for over 25 years, and when your rights to fish are threatened, the CCA is there to make sure government regulators are making sound decisions. I'm a life member of CCA, and when fishery decisions are being made, the CCA in the room is fighting for our recreational rights. We need to give our kids the same opportunities to fish as we did. Do what I did. Go to ccaflorida.org and join for only $25 so you can protect your recreational angling rights.
Hi, I'm Harold Bennett. My dad started Bennett Auto Supply over 57 years ago. Things have changed since then. We've grown to 33 stores and opened a 93,000 square foot distribution center. But one thing has stayed the same, our focus on the customer. That's why we have the most knowledgeable parts specialists in the business, and we only offer quality auto parts at the guaranteed lowest prices. The next time you need anything for your vehicle, think Bennett Auto Supply. Best parts, best prices, Bennett Auto Supply.
A man and his truck, and tofu, and veggie burgers, and raw kale salads. All fine, just not today.
Whatever you do.
Introducing High Country, the premium Silverado.
Do it good.
Silverado, 2014 North American Truck of the Year.
Fish Dock, the total saltwater experience, returns to New Smyrna Beach this Memorial Day weekend. Bring the whole gang to Riverside Park for an incredible family experience. Tournaments, boat shows, seminars, kids clinics, chowder cook-off, and the Fish Dock 5K Fun Run. Visit fishdock.com to register for the new Billfish Open, the Offshore Striker Tournament, or the Redfish Trout Challenge for your chance to win thousands in cash, prizes, and much more. Fish Dock, Memorial Day weekend in New Smyrna Beach. Don't miss this one.
Hey, welcome back to the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report. I got my good buddy Herb Roselle from Casa Vieja Lodge. And Herb, we're talking about sailfish this week, and there's not a better place in the world to catch a sailfish than Casa Vieja Lodge in Guatemala. Tell me about it.
Absolutely. I mean, Guatemala is the best sailfishing you can do on the planet, you know, and basically for us, from October all the way through early part of June, you can consistently catch 18 to 22 sailfish per day per boat. So it's pretty awesome.
You know, talking about that, Herb, tell me how you're going to catch those fish when you get down there. A novice guy to the fly guy?
Everybody can, you know, so you see in the picture in the monitor, we got guys that come down to conventional to fly. I mean, expert guys, we have novice. The beautiful thing about Guatemala is that it's flat calm 90% of the time. So guys can come down with their kids, with their, you know, doing that father-son, you know.
Do a Marlin University with people who don't know what they're doing, really.
Exactly.
That's one of those places where you can just get tons of bites, a lot of sailfish, and you know, the more bites you get, the better practice you get. So it works out great.
And we got blue marlin, we got black marlin, we got tuna, we got dorado, and even in the fall time frame, some good wahoo fish.
And we also have really nice boats to fish on. Very comfortable boats, which is why we go there.
We do. We have 4 37-foot and 2 40-foot custom game fish boats, and they're all, you know, with everything you can want on board, from conventional to ultralight to spinning tackle.
All right, tell me about the lodge, where we're going to stay.
Well, you stay. It's basically an hour, a little bit of an hour drive outside of Guatemala City, down to the port, and there we've got a 19-room facility. You know, we got accommodate up to 38 anglers. And we've got a beautiful bar there with 2 big giant screen TVs. So
Well-stocked bar, by the way.
Fully stocked. And
well, not fully now.
And our beautiful pool where a lot of our anglers, when they come back in from a long day, a hot day of fishing, come on and take a dip in the pool and have some hors d'oeuvres and cocktails brought to them there, as you can see.
And speaking of food, Herb, what do we expect at night when we crank up the grill?
Everything. It's gourmet, first-class stuff, from fillets to fish to shrimp, lobster, everything we got on board. It's really, eating is what we love to do there as well.
Well, Herb, we want to just welcome you guys to be back to the family at the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report.
Thanks
Casa Vieja Lodge, the place to go catch your first sailfish and certainly a big one on fly.
Yeah, come down and see us.
All right, Brie, we got more things to talk about, so let's go.
Yes, we do. We are going to go talk to Captain Ron Houston in the Southwest region, where sailfish aren't really too common, but I'm sure he has a plethora of other species to talk about. You tell him, Ron.
Well, like always, it's always a pleasure to be here. But I mentioned last week when you were dolphin fishing, you can catch some scheduled sailfish. But typically it's not an everyday thing. But with the flow we've had over the last couple of weeks, we finally got some good weather for the weekend, and the winds are settling down. Right now, guys, in the last couple of days have been getting offshore and actually concentrating on some triple tail before they run way off for the groupers. Concentrating right now from Rabbit Key Pass to Cordon Pass, concentrating on crab pots, head pins or markers, swim buoys, and near shore wrecks. Obviously, it's a run and gun bite, and not everything is holding. But like I said, it's a run and gun method. Most guys, when they do this, they're looking for these fish to be on top. Well, you see a lot of smaller fish on top, and guys keep running by them. You want to concentrate on doing what the reports I've been given is run to some of these areas where you see the smaller fish. Try not to sight cast these fish, and drop small jigs down below, or free line or a shrimp with a split shot, or even small shiners. Start doing that a few times, reeling up and down. It seems some of the bigger fish are coming up to the top with the smaller fish. Obviously, it won't happen in every area you work on, but the pattern I've understood here in the last couple days is guys are blind casting those areas, and the bigger fish are coming to the top. Also, as the weather's settling down, reports are just starting to get spotty with the cobia. Now, we're not really seeing some big groups of fish, but most noted structure anywhere from 8 to 25 miles out from Wiggins Pass to Redfish Pass, there have been some scattered cobias in the area. Right now, these fish are averaging 15 to 40 pounds, and they're simply being caught by running to some of this structure, dropping down live pinfish or herring, or simply anchoring up and chumming these areas while you might be snapper fishing. As this flick starts getting going, you'll start to see some cobia coming to the top. Like I said, not in numbers, but guys are having shots. But when you're fishing down below, have some live baits ready up top with a rod to toss at them. Guys are catching fish, tossing their fish coming into the slick while they're fishing the bottom. You know, on the inshore side, weather's going to be perfect for the weekend. Concentrate on the trout. You want to concentrate on the sandbar edges from Chino Key to Regla Key. Cattle Dock Point to Cape Hayes Point, and to Devilfish Key in depth of 4 to 6 feet of water, drifting with the wind while using live shrimp under a popping cork, or chumming live pilchards behind the back of the boat as you're drifting, or simply using lip plugs in white, red and white, or chartreuse. Now, it's sort of odd. The bigger fish are being caught in 4 to 6 feet, but now in the depths of 15 to 24 inches on the flats in those areas on the inside of the sandbars, plenty of fish being caught, but they're on the smaller side. Like I said, for some reason, the bigger fish are in the deeper depths with some fish up to 28 inches. And most of those bigger fish right now are being caught on lip plugs. These fish have been caught strictly on the early morning before they can get to the top of the bars, or late in the afternoon on the last of the outgoing. Try concentrating on casting some lip plugs, especially red and white in color. Now, the snook. Concentrate on a night bite from Sanibel and residential canals in the Cape Coral area. Nighttime, last half of the incoming, and the first half of the outgoing after midnight, which should be about 2 in the morning. Live shrimp, reports I've gotten is the smaller the shrimp, the better. Or tandem rigs, spec rigs in white, chartreuse or yellow. Also 3 to 4 inch paddle tails of white, pink, or chartreuse, and small lip plugs with similar colors have been producing catches of snook from 20 to 25 inches. Pretty consistent, but some slot-sized fish between 28 and 32 inches have been caught. The bigger fish have been caught in the shadow lines. When I was fishing last night, I was approaching an area. There were some guys fishing it. I went around the area. They were fishing for smaller snook. Ahead of the area, I saw the bigger fish in the shadow lines. Got way ahead of them. Caught some slot-side fish in the shadow lines. I believe the pressure's on the docks. Fish are moving out to the shadow lines.
Hey, great report, Ronnie, from the CCA Southwest region. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the Florida Outdoor Experience hotspots from the Southwest region. Inshore, snook, redfish, trout, Turner River to Dad's Bay using popping corks with shrimp. White, yellow chartreuse, bucktails tipped. Fish the wind-blown sides of all the shorelines. And then offshore, red grouper, Big Marco Pass to Carlos Pass, 85 to 105 feet of water, depth using cut herring, squid, sardines, or 4 to 6 ounce white bucktail jigs. You know
Man,
about
that girl sure loves to fish.
Yes,
you know
she
that
does.
song?
You sing
Craig
too?
Campbell? Well, not really. Okay, I think it's about that time to welcome back Randy Chow down in the Keys region from his trip to the Bahamas last week. Did you have fun, Randy? What?
Oh, absolutely. Good evening, fish fans. I'll tell you what, it's a nice change when you can go to the Bahamas in the middle of tarpon season. That's for sure. But, you know, we got to talk about sailfish this week. That seems to be the theme. And our sailfishing in the winter has been off the last couple of years. You know, traditionally, the wintertime, November through January, February, we have a great bite of sailfish along the edge of the reef, and the most popular bait is a ballyhoo. We got a lot of ballyhoos that time of year, and usually that's what the sailfish want to eat. But with the warm winters we've been having, it seems like our sailfishing turns on later spring, the early summer. I know that sounds kind of weird for sailfishing. We get a tailing condition, and that's a color change offshore where the actual Gulf Stream moves in close to the reef, and it causes a change in the water where it goes from green to blue. And last year we had this in June and July of all times a year when people want to catch yellowtails and dolphin. We had a great sailfish bite. Nobody wanted to go sailfishing. So I'm anticipating, and a lot of guys are doing the same, hoping that this tailing condition happens. Now, if you want to do that, the best way to go fishing for these fish, because it's sight fishing, you need a boat with a tuna tower, or you certainly need to spot the fish as they're traveling down sea on these color changes. Any live bait will work great. A pilchard, a ballyhoo, a sardine, a garmino. Any kind of live bait you can throw in front of them, you're going to get a bite. So that's what we're anticipating coming up with our sailfish bite, a little different than what we're used to in the winter. Yellowtailing on the edge of the reef, right now this time of year, it's getting a little warmer, it's getting nicer, the yellowtails are biting, and it's really a popular thing for most guys that want to go catch some fish to eat. Anywhere along the reef, you got to look for conditions. I always talk about the conditions being the key. If you've got good current and you've got off-color water, that's a big plus for successful yellowtailing. If you have clear water and you can see the bottom in 70 or 80 feet with no current, do something else. If you have that condition that's favorable, you want to anchor down anywhere from 50 to 60 feet of water, start your chumming, And the secret here is to go slow. Chum, let the fish come up, and start fishing slowly where you fish one rod at a time, and you're patient about fishing the fish that are coming up in your chum slick, and you're going to be a lot more successful in catching your limit. The backcountry, we talk about shark fishing. Sharks aren't big on my list, but right now there's a lot of lemon sharks in the backcountry. And these lemon sharks show up in areas where you normally catch snook and redfish. And the last week or two, there's been a lot of lemon sharks all over the flats, all over these little spots that we like to fish. Now, you know, a lemon shark is great because it's good fighting. They even jump. They fight great. They're exciting for young kids, and they're usually a fish that you can catch on any condition: wind, tide, time of year. It really doesn't matter a whole lot, and it doesn't take a lot of sophistication to get these fish to bite. Any kind of fresh cut bait, you're going to get a bite from these lemon sharks, and they're great fun to catch on light tackle, on a fly rod even. So whenever you're on the flats and you see these sharks, don't pass them up because they can be a lot of fun sometimes, especially when the fishing's slow. Snook fishing in the backcountry, I've got a good snook report. The backcountry's been good, pretty consistent up on the flat. If you have a technical poling skiff and you can get to these fish in shallow water, the guys are sight fishing a lot of snook on top of the flats when the tide is up. When the tide gets down and you're fishing a lot of the runoffs and the channels, you're really limited where you can go, especially with a bigger boat like a bay boat. So you want to try maybe a live bait, a pinfish on a 3/8 ounce hookup is a good bait. Fish it on the bottom on these runoffs, and you're going to find some nice snook. I've got a photo of Johnny Long and young JB from Daytona with a nice snook we caught the other day.
All right, Randy, good report. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the La Jolla, Florida Keys hotspots from the Florida Keys region. Inshore tarpon, look around the bridges and fish with live mullet or drift a medium-sized crab. And then offshore, yellowtails anchor in 50 to 60 feet of water where you have good current. Start chumming, be patient, start fishing slow with one rod at a time. One at a time.
Patience is a virtue.
Yes.
Yes, especially when you fish. All right, now it's time to tell you about some tournaments in the Florida Keys. The Florida Keys Dolphin Championship, set for May 16th to the 18th, is a Keys-wide tournament with 5 different weigh-in stations from Key Largo to Key West with more than $100,000 in cash and prizes. The original Big Pine and Lower Keys Dolphin Tournament, also set for May 16th to the 18th, has more than $35,000 in cash and prizes, and awards are up for grabs as well. Special flies, accurate casts, and luck are the recipe for winning the Golden Fly Invitational Tarpon Tournament from the May 18th to the 21st in Isla Mirada. Also, anglers must use tournament-furnished tippets not greater than 16-pound test. And lastly, the Yamaha Dolphin Masters, set for May 23rd and 24th in Key West, with more than $13,000, awaits the anglers scoring the highest total combined weight of 3 dolphin catches. Well, now we have Andy Newman on the line to tell you about even more tournaments in the Keys. Hi, Andy.
Hey, guys. Now, is there a better way to spend Mother's Day weekend than in the Florida Keys fishing for dolphins?
Heck no.
I don't think so. There you go, Brie. The 8th annual Mother's Day Dolphin Tournament benefits the Habitat for Humanity of the Middle Keys, and it really provides some great incentive for such a great cause. It's scheduled May 9th to the 10th at the Tarpon Creek Bar and Grill in Marathon. Now, this is an angler tournament. There's some $15,000 in cash and prizes up for grabs for the heaviest dolphin in 3 categories. That includes professional, weekend warriors, and juniors. Of course, all money raised goes to Habitat Middle Keys. And for more tournament information, go to MothersDayDolphinTournament.com. And, of course, guys, more details on the other Florida Keys tournaments and events, it's at FLAKeys.com, Rick.
Great job, Andy. Good to have you. And we're going to go ahead and go on to the next region, right?
Well, maybe. I know y'all want to go off and start catching some of these sailfish beauties. I know that we do.
I do.
But we have a lot more to catch up on, like some new products and the Central East region. All of that and more to come on the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report.
Oh, no.
Dave, stop. Stop, Dave.
The Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by the Florida Keys and Key West. Come as you are. Hookup Lures, premium lures for serious anglers. FWC, the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission. Guy Harvey, artist, explorer, marine scientist, conservationist, diver, and fisherman. La Jolla Resort, a place for family and fishermen. Maverick Boat Company, makers of premium boat brands, Maverick, Hughes, and Pathfinder. Navionics, we start where the road ends.
It's 200 streamlined horsepower of Yamaha forward thinking. The all-new F200 inline 4-stroke. Whether you're an offshore angler, pontoon cruiser, bay boater, or walleye hunter, the responsive and fuel-efficient F200 combines amazing power and versatility in one incredibly compact and lightweight package. The all-new F200. Legendary Yamaha reliability and the freedom of forward thinking.
You know there's more to it than luck. There's fishing the right bait, the water temperature, the wind, the season, and then there's the boat. We'll put it simply, the boat matters. To own a Contender is to own the best sport fishing boat on the market, period. Contender offers the most comprehensive model range with bigger, faster, and more fuel-efficient boats than the competition. There's only one choice for serious anglers. Contender Boats. Performance through innovation.
Suffix 832 is constructed with 7 strands of Dyneema and a single strand of Gore Performance Fiber. It's the roundest, longest casting line in the world. It offers superior abrasion resistance so you can fish it anywhere. It's the strongest, most sensitive, and durable small diameter braid ever to hit the water. Nice fish, Brett.
Thanks.
Suffix 832. Always use the best line.
Hey, welcome back to the Jägermeister Workbench. New products is your life,
Yes,
Dave, and it's
that's what I live
one of
for.
the funnest parts of the whole show for me.
Well, good.
So tell me what we got over here.
Well,
this week.
these are a line of clothing from Bell's. If you live in Florida like we do, if you're very familiar with Bell's, they've been around in the States since something like 1915. They started a little store on the Manatee River, and they've spread all through Florida. And this is their Real Legend line of clothing. They have, these really nice captain shirts and some crew necks. They're all made for fishing. These captain shirts are long sleeve, and they got the nice vents in the back.
Right.
Roll up sleeves with a little catch on them, just like the regular kind. Velcro pockets, real big puffy pockets that hold a lot. Their crew shirts. These are their crew shirts. Come in really nice colors. Very lightweight. Really well made. Quick drying. For the salt water as well. Just really good stuff. Real Legends from Bell's. Bell's they probably sell more Guy Harvey stuff than anybody in the world, and they're selling some Real Legend stuff too. Really good stuff.
Well, speaking of legendary, what about the cooler?
Well, I told you we have the the Yeti back. So we got this is a Tundra 45 quart cooler. It's a roto-molded cooler. Really thick walls for keeping ice or whatever you put in here forever and ever. It's good for dry ice, actually. It's strong enough to hold dry ice. You can put dry ice in here and don't have to worry about it cracking your plastic or anything. It's got this big, nice gasket, keep the air out and everything. And also they got a really great stainless steel hinge that runs all the way across here, and that's very important when this thing's opening and closing, If you get a cheap hinge, your cooler becomes worthless.
Let me show you another little trick. Close that for me, Dave. When you close this, it actually pulls down on the lid. Now, what I do on my personal cooler, guys, is I take the pin out, which is right here, and I reverse this so that this now is backwards like so that your fly line doesn't get caught.
Oh.
So that's a cool little trick that we do for fly fishing guys, so that's not sticking out. And if you're a fly fisherman, and you especially like to stand on that, you can do that so your fly line didn't get hung up.
Or you could just, throw that fly rod away and pick up a spinning rod, because it's a lot easier.
Great cooler.
Making that fishing's hard enough already. All right, the Suffix 832. This is really good stuff. I mean, I've actually just started spooling up at home with it because I just got a bunch of it, and it's really, really limp for a braid. Before they had this kind of like a waxy coating on them, and it was making them a little stiff. It was more abrasive, probably, but they just didn't cast as good. And now this stuff just casts incredible. It's got the Gore little performance fibers in there. It's got a lot more weaves to it, so that makes it a lot more supple. I mean,
and that's why they call it 832. 8 strands, 7 of Dyneema, 1 strand of Gore.
32 weaves per inch.
That's right, 32 weaves
per inch.
Per inch.
Yep, and it's it's really round, so it casts very well. Just a really good braid, and now, I'm using braid for everything. I don't, except for trolling.
The thing that I like about that too is now they have it in massively big, large spools. They come in 150, 300, all the way up to 3,000 yards.
Yeah, well, this is like 4-pound diameter, so this is going to be a ton of it going on. Now, these are cool little things right now. These are called splizzers. They're made by Buck. And when I used them quite a bit just a minute ago when I was rigging up those ballyhoos. It's great for cutting ballyhoo beaks off. They're made out of a really good steel. It's got a set of crimpers on there. It's got a little beverage opener on the end, obviously.
Cool. Very well thought out.
But what's really good is it's got this really nice braid cutting serrated edges on it, and the scissors actually work like 10 times more pressure than a regular pair of scissors. And not only that, they send it with a pair of little extra blades that you can replace it with.
Nice.
You cut out you just pull that little screw out and replace your blades when they get old, which is always a good thing.
All right, great report. We're going to save the Rapala Balsa Extreme minnows for next week.
They keep getting pushed back, but man, I put them on the other day and caught a bass on the first cast with one of them. That's why we only got 3 instead of 4.
All right, well, you're the man. Obviously, it only one cast, and certainly it only took Brie one cast in order to catch all of us here. So guess what? We're going to keep on casting.
Why not?
Cute, Rick. Very cute. I need me a pair of those splizzers.
Splizzers.
Okay, we have Captain Jim Ross on deck from the Central East region where the sailfish bite is looking pretty decent. Tell us what's going on up there, Jim.
Well, it sure has been, Brie. Quite a few fish have already started to come in this year, and we're looking forward to the group of fish that seems to be to the south of us as they continue to work their way up into the Central East region over the next few weeks and even months. Anglers like to troll naked ballyhoo up and around this area for specifically targeting the sailfish, and 3 to 4 knots is about the speed you want to pull at. So anytime that you're out there in the 120 to 240 foot depths, you can have a shot at sailfish pulling those kind of baits at those speeds. You can also slow troll live baits. A lot of guys get them on the 80 to 90 foot reefs, especially when they're trying to catch sailfish. And from now through mid-June is the best time that you're going to find those sailfish coming through. A lot of times what they'll do is they'll strike the bait with their bill, and then they'll circle back around to pick up a stunned or wounded bait. So you want to keep a sharp eye out, and if you see the rod get a hard knock, just drop the bait back, try and put it in free spool so the sailfish can pick it up. But once you feel that fish pick that line up, go ahead and put it back in gear, and you should be able to get a good hookup at that time. And most of our sailfish run about 30 to 45 pounds in this part of the state, but we get them a couple bigger, a little bit bigger than that once in a while. Now, the other thing that I've got going on offshore right now is sharks. There's a huge variety of sharks still possible throughout the Central East region this week. We've got lemon, fine-tooth, silky, sharp nose. Well, those are the most common ones that we have. And we also have some black tips, some spinners, some bulls, and some hammerheads. So there's a good variety of sharks out there. The dirty water conditions from the past week's windy weather seems to be having these fish cruise up and down the surf zones. They're looking for something to eat. Anglers that want to get out there are going to look for fish that are cruising just outside the surf break out to about the 50-foot mark. And you're going to want to use chunks of bonita, mullet, and ladyfish, or you can even use large chunks of barracuda on a VMC circle hook and a wire rig. Live pogies will also work, and that is the most prevalent bait fish that we have along the beaches at this time. And the schools of pogies are often found right in the surf break, especially between Melbourne and Cocoa Beach, which brings the sharks in very close to shore. So the guys fishing from shore a lot of times can catch them right there in the surf break. Our average shark is running about 25 to about 75 pounds on average, but, those bulls and those hammerheads and stuff, they can get in excess of 200 pounds. So just be really careful if you do see the bait fish in the surf zones, and don't swim in the bait.
All right, let's go.
Inshore.
Yeah, let's go, bub.
Okay, we've got Jack Crevalle, and once again, one of those species that isn't really highly touted most of the time, but these fish are cruising all up and down the lagoon waters from Vero Beach to Cocoa right now, and you'll see small pods of them busting finger mullet or glass minnows on the edges of the flats, and especially around the spoil islands. Look for diving birds that are cruising around over the tops of those schools, and look for the fleeing mullet. That's going to be a dead giveaway to where you're going to want to fish, because that's going to be the activity that you're looking for. Causeways are another really good place to intercept jacks, especially for shorebound anglers, and they can get in on some of that jack action as well. You want to try and choose something like a Rapala X-Rap 8 or an X-Rap 10 or the new shallow shad wrap. Well, it's not really new, but it's a new lure that is being implemented in saltwater. The freshwater guys have figured it out, and we're just now figuring it out on the saltwater side. Glass Ghost and Clown seem to be two of the better colors. You can also throw topwater plugs and storm chug bugs and different things like that, especially with the jacks that are cruising up and down the intracoastal. Most of the fish are running 2 to 4 pounds, but we do have fish to 8 pounds right now. Now, our other species is one of our more popular species, and the big redfish right now are cruising the shorelines and the sandy potholes in the Mosquito Lagoon this week. Captain Richard Bradley and Captain Jamie Glasner have both been averaging about 5 to 10 fish a trip while just soaking some cut baits. But, you don't have to soak cut baits. You can also use live baits. Just put them on a 3/0 to 5/0 size VMC circle hook and put a light split shot to hold the bait in the sandy potholes. Skitterwalk plugs are working good. Also, 5-inch Assassin's plastic baits. They're always working good, it seems like, especially when you fish around the edges of the mullet pods. And right now, the Houdini color and the chicken on a chain color are two of the better ones. And also, native shiner. So make sure that, if you get out and check out the native shiner color, I think you're going to be really impressed with it, especially if you find areas with cleaner water. Live shrimp on a hookup jig head are also really good, especially if you're sight casting to the fish. And most of our reds are running 18 to 25 inches right now, but you can catch fish to 40 inches. And I've got a picture here of the Sutton boys that I had out the other day. And they had one's got a red, one's got a sheep head. Just as you're cruising along those shorelines with those shrimp on a jig head, look for multiple species that are going to be hanging around those mangrove roots, and you can get a double hookup just like these two boys did last week.
All right, great report, Jim, from the Central East region. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the hookup hotspot from the Central East region. Captain Jim says trout, ladyfish, jacks between Miko and Newfound Harbor use bass assassin sea shad tails under the birds, working active feeding schools of fish, and then offshore. Amberjacks are hitting live pinfish on the reef and the wrecks in 80 to 250 foot depth.
Dang, well, that sounds good, but so does fish stock. What's about fish stock?
Tell
Fish
me.
stock's in New Smyrna Beach on May 25th from noon to 4 p.m. Make sure to check that out. That sounds like a blast, but so does sticking around to hear what our Northeast and Northwest region captains have to say, coming up on the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report.
The Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Chevy. Find new roads. Alukai, fit by nature, crafted by hand. Best parts, best prices. Bennett Auto Supply. The Florida Keys and Key West. Come as you are. Rapala. Catch the latest at rapala.com. Startron. Cures and prevents ethanol fuel problems. And Yamaha. Reliability starts here.
his truck, and a very eligible bachelor. And lonely hearts. And romance in the air. And hello, ladies. The new Chevy Silverado Heavy Duty, strong for all the roads ahead.
Continuing the revolution. Faster, drier, even better built. Designed around Yamaha's latest technology outboards. Still built by the same craftsmen and anglers who launched the Bay Boat Revolution. Whether chasing world records, or time on the water with the family, or anything in between, there's a new Pathfinder model for you. Pathfinder, #1 for a reason, still.
I'm Captain Rick Murphy, and I'm a life member of CCA. Why am I so involved with CCA, you ask? Because I want our fisheries to be in better shape for my kids and their kids. CCA is working to ensure the future of recreational fisheries and the rights of recreational anglers. The future of fishing starts today with you. How do you want to leave things with your kids? If you're like me, you'll want to make the right choice and go to joinccaflorida.com right now.
For weekly reports from our 9 captains and our latest events, make sure to check out our website at the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report.com. You can also like us on Facebook and even send us your fish-tastic photos. Plus, follow us on Instagram at Captain Rick Murphy and Official Insider. And don't forget, while you're on our Facebook page, make sure to enter our Gear Up and Go Fish giveaway, where one lucky winner and their guests will go on a fishing trip with Rick and I in the Everglades National Park. The winner will also receive Guy Harvey, AFTCO, Olokai, and Costa Gear. But you can only register on Facebook. And this is the last week to enter. And we'll be announcing the, we'll be announcing the winner next week on the show. So
I don't think I said anything.
You didn't, but look. So make that the first thing you do after watching the show tonight, of course. All right. Now we're going to talk to our Northeast region, Captain Russell Theron, who I'm going fishing with this weekend. I'm so excited.
Wow.
What do we have to look forward to out on the water, Russell?
Hey, Brie, we've got a lot to look forward to, and especially some good weather. Finally, we're getting a break, and I think there's going to be anything that floats out here in Northeast Florida, somebody's going to be on it wanting to go out fishing. And, I want to talk about the sailfish because we're not too far north for sailfish here in Northeast Florida. I've even seen a free swimmer myself east of Nassau Sound. But most of our sailfish are caught from St. Augustine south and east from 100 foot of water and out. Most of the recommended methods of catching sailfish here in our region is by slow trolling at 8 knots with small ballyhoo, rigged with 5/0 or 7/0 VMC circle hooks. Now, trolling a dredge behind your boat is a great teaser for getting the sailfish all jazzed up. Now, September is the best month of the year to also catch fish, and the typical size of our sailfish run anywhere from 4 to 7 feet in length. Now, staying offshore, and because we've got such great sea conditions forecasted, my report is going to be about the wahoo. We've got tremendous difference between nearshore water temperatures and water temperatures on the ledge. Wahoo, blackfin tuna, dolphin are going to be caught offshore in 160 foot of water to 180 foot on the continental break, also known as the ledge. Now, trolling will be able, to get a good wahoo bite, slow trolling, and you'll also pick up that tuna and the dolphin that's going to be in that mix. The best lures to use for wahoo is a purple and black sea witch. Now, the cedar plugs are working the best for the blackfin tuna, and use blue and white or either pink and white islander lures tipped with ballyhoo for dolphin. Typical size wahoo in our area are weighing anywhere from 40 to 60 pounds. And these are great fish to catch and to eat too, don't you think, Rick?
Oh, absolutely, I do. And also a great fish to eat is redfish. You got any redfish in your region, bud?
Yes, sir, we sure do. And here we go, Rick. We had a conference call. I talked to 3 of the best guides in Northeast Florida. I talked to Chris Holloman, Captain Chris. I talked to Tommy Derringer. I also talked to Captain Chris Herrera down in the Palm Coast area. And we all agreed after the blow and the bad weather we were handed last week that the biggest focus this weekend is fishing the clean water. And we want to really pay attention to the tides and our water temperatures because they're going to warm up. Now, what we want to do is, because we're going to have a new moon, which causes the spring tides this weekend, the water temperatures are going to be just right to break out those top water plugs. Now, a couple of ways of targeting the redfish with your top water plugs as a search lure, like a Rappler Skitterwalk in the trout pattern. That's my favorite. You might also want to use a storm chug bug in the mullet pattern at first light. That's what I'm going to introduce you to, Brie.
Great, sounds like fun.
Then, after, the sun gets up and it gets a little bright, you might want to switch over to a Terminator spinner bait to cover large areas of the grass line. Some of the best spots to fish right now are going to be around Capoe Island, Pine Island, Fort George Island, and the east and west sides of Big Talbot Island. The redfish are running anywhere from 3 to 7 pounds. Now, I've got a great photo of Chip Stapleton with his monster redfish that measured 43 inches. That bad boy, a bass assassin, 6-inch smoking shad jerkbait on a 3 1/8 ounce white hook up jigging, 8 foot of water just off the beach. And I'll tell you something. I also, too, want to plug that I was using the 382 Suffix line, braided line that, oh, my gosh, between that and the Suffix fluorocarbon, I mean, that's what kept him connected. But let's go on and talk about the black drum. Because with the tides that we're going to have this weekend, with these spring tides, fish the giant black drum at the south end of St. Mary Jedley and off of Main Beach in Fernandina, or inside Nassau Sound behind Bird Island. Mayport, St. Augustine Inlets also produce great catches. Don't forget, we've got 3 great piers to fish the black drum. They are the Jack's Beach Pier, the St. Augustine Beach Pier, and, of course, the Flagler Beach Pier are great places to drum fish. Now, because you're bottom fishing, you want to look for deep washouts at the end of the rock jetties. Locate the deep holes where the big drum are going to spawn. Some of the best times to fish for the giant drums are during the change of the tide, especially near sunset and sunrise. Now, you want to go ahead and use a VMC 5/0 up to an 8/0 circle hook with a half or a whole blue crab as a bait. Typical size black drum are going to average anywhere from 35 to 60 pounds. Also, Rick, I want to share with you guys that CCA Florida is going to have their first annual Jacksonville Beer and Barbecue Bash here May 15th at 6 p.m. at the Old Wolf Brewing on Heckscher Drive in the San Marco area. Come out and to this new venue, help support the recreational fishermen and marine conservation. I spoke to Trevor Hardy this afternoon, and Trevor said to give him a call at 772-713-6468. If you have any questions, you can also purchase tickets online at ccaflorida.org.
All right, thank you, Russell. Great report. A lot of good info there for this weekend. And, guys, we're going to go ahead and look at the inshore hotspots. Catch giant black drum in the inlets during the change of the tides near sunset and sunrise. Use a half a blue crab for bait. And then offshore, fish the cobias in the cleaner, warmer water south of Matanzas Inlet. Use live mullet or a live pokey to get that bite for those cobias.
Have you ever been to a beer BQ?
I never have.
Me too. Okay, well, maybe let's ask Jeff that. Jeff Hageman from the Northwest region is here to give you some good news on the sail fishing over there. Hey, Jeff.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Doing great.
Good.
Our sailfish is more in our region as a bycatch, but we do get them. Most of the time, the guys are kingfishing out there, and they'll catch them as bycatch. We do get quite a few of them, though. During that time, the best time to actually go out and target them would be August and September. But right now, the kingfish are just starting to show up real good, and we do have a few sailfish around. But that August, September is really when you want to target. You can get out there, the water's nice and still. You can see them finning. You want to look for birds and bait is a big thing in any kind of weed line. They're going to be up checking the sargassum that's floating around for bait fish out there. You can actually see them finning. Throw your trolling motor down if you have one, or ease up to them real quietly, and you can pitch baits to these guys on top. It's really unique fishery. I mean, we're just getting more and more of it every year, and it's getting better and better every year. And they're a little smaller than on the other coast, and we don't have as many, but we do catch an occasional fish up to 65, 70 pounds. But like I said, August, September is that time to get out there if you want to try and target a sailfish, and you're going to be out in anywhere from 75 feet of water on out to 210 is that range you want to be in, and you're going to find most of those fish.
All right, tell me about the kingfishing, man.
We got some good kingfishing. Captain Harry Connor of Hook'em Harry Charters out of St. Pete reports a great kingfish bite right now. 80 feet of water. You want to fish over the live bottom with any kind of good relief. He says anchor up on the sand just outside that live formation, and you want to use sardines on 60 to 80 pound fluorocarbon leader. They've been a little leader shy with using wire, so he's been using fluorocarbon instead to get those bites. He's using an extra long shank J hook to help with the cutoffs. And some fish right now, he's doing quite a few fish over 20 pounds, so some great fish out there. I do have a photo of Captain Harry with one of his clients, with one of those nice kingfish he caught the other day out fishing.
That's a great fish. Hey, let's go ahead and go inshore, bud.
I got a good pompano report from Captain Jordan Todd out of St. Joe Bay. The pompano have been really showing up and running along the beaches and sand flats of the bay. You want to target transitions through the breaks and the bars, and the troughs and the breaks and the bars. One of the tricks he's finding right now is you want to look for the cleanest, clearest water you can find. You use in shrimp or fish bites on a 1 ounce or 2 ounce, a half ounce or a 1 ounce weight with a number 2 VMC circle hook in the first couple hours of daylight has been the best time. Also, you want to try and fish that outgoing tide first thing in the morning. If you can line your tides up right for first thing in the morning and that outgoing tide, that's been the best bite. Averages right now are anything from 1 to 3 pounds, and a couple fish over 4 pounds have been caught out there. So some great pompano bite up in the upper part of my region. In the middle of my region, Captain Margo Costello out of Homosassa reports the triple tail bite has stayed consistent with the weather, even though we've had some bad weather recently. It's staying pretty consistent. He's seeing fish around the crab trap buoys and anywhere from 15 to 25 feet of water. And almost always they'll be facing the crab trap buoy trying to imitate that clump of weed or to get some structure and ambush the baits as they go by. Live shrimp has been the key, or you can also use a clear DOA. That's been working real well. Right now the fish are ranging anywhere from 5 to 10 pounds. And I got a nice photo of one of Mario Costello's clients there with a nice triple tail.
Hey, Jeff, good job. Hey, I want to ask you a question before we go to the drum and bank hot spots. Jeff, tell me about the tarpon fishing. You know, we had this warm weather for the whole winter. Now all of a sudden it got cold again. I know it's really affected the fishing in the Florida Everglades. What has it done there in Boca Grande?
I just got down here, and right now there was a group of fish that was probably 3,000 strong off of Knapp's Point, which is Fort Myers area. And there's some fish in the harbor and in the pass right now. Yesterday there were fish in the pass. Right now it's broke them up, pushed them down deep, and pushed them back into the flats where they can warm up. This colder weather is going to affect them a little bit. They're gonna come. It's just a matter of time. They're probably a week or so late, but they're going to be here.
That's all right. That's okay. We were running too strong for too long. All right, bud, I'm going to go ahead and get to the Drummond Community Bank hotspots from the Northwest region. Great report from the Yeti region. Captain Jeff says inshore, redfish on the top of the tide, use cut pinfish or ladyfish for bait, and then offshore, grunts and sea bass on a flat rock off of Tarpon Springs in 30 to 45 feet of water. Use squid or on a chicken rig for bait.
Chicken rig. I just
I
love
say
saying
chicken,
that.
I always want a chicken on the chain
Chicken
or something.
rig. Okay, well, when we return, you'll be hearing our Conservation Minute tip, as well as what our salty sweet captain from the Central West region has to say, right here on the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report.
The Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Suffix, the world's most hardcore fishing line, Tires Plus, Total Car Care, the IGFA, Conservation Through Education, Get Your Hands Wet, Florida Outdoor Experience, Lumber Rock, Captain Harry's Fishing Supply Company.
Introducing Helmmaster, Yamaha's first fully integrated digital boat control system. With Helmmaster, you can start your outboards with a swipe of a paw and control them with a single lever. Outboard trim and steering friction adjust automatically as you accelerate and decelerate. Adjust engine speed with the touch of a button. The Helmmaster joystick provides the means to navigate and dock precisely with confidence and ease. Take control of your next vessel with Helmmaster at your command.
Fish Dock, the total saltwater experience, returns to New Smyrna Beach this Memorial Day weekend. Bring the whole gang to Riverside Park for an incredible family experience. Tournaments, boat shows, seminars, kids clinics, chowder cook-off, and the Fish Dock 5K Fun Run. Visit fishdock.com to register for the new Billfish Open, the Offshore Striker Tournament, or the Redfish Trout Challenge for your chance to win thousands in cash, prizes, and much more. Fish Dock, Memorial Day weekend in New Smyrna Beach. Don't miss this one.
Casa, Vieja Lodge, Guatemala.
StarTron is a multifunctional fuel additive that uses enzyme technology. StarTron cures and prevents ethanol fuel problems. Engines powered by StarTron treated fuel start easily and run smoothly with fewer emissions and better fuel economy. StarTron restores octane to old substandard fuel. StarTron's enzyme formula enhances combustion for a more complete fuel burn. StarTron, it's not the engine, it's the fuel.
The Chevrolet Cruze, loved in 119 countries around the world. Proof we're not so different after all. It's the new world.
The Billfish Foundation works worldwide to advance the conservation of billfish and pelagic species to improve the health of oceans and economies. One of the Billfish Foundation's primary initiatives is its tagging program, which relies on recreational anglers to tag billfish. The Billfish Foundation tagging database has grown into the world's largest and most extensive billfish tag and release program. The knowledge gained from billfish tagging allows scientists and policymakers to make informed decisions about our fisheries and our oceans. In addition to the conventional tagging program, the Billfish Foundation works with scientists and anglers on a worldwide variety of satellite tagging projects across the world. The tags provide real-time information of fish travels and oceanographic conditions they favor. By understanding the movements of billfish in areas particularly important to feeding, spawning, and other activities, the Billfish Foundation is able to provide policymakers with persuasive evidence for targeting conservation. Please visit billfish.org for more information to get started tagging today.
Hey Rick, I tagged a few of those when we went with Jimbo, remember?
Absolutely, I certainly do.
That's important.
First
All right,
ones.
now let's talk with Captain Jeff Page in the Central West region about his tips on catching a sail over in the Gulf. Hey Page, what's up?
Hey you guys.
What's going on, Jeffrey?
We don't have the feeding frenzy that they have in the South and the Southeast regions, but a good number of sailfish are taken in the Starbright Central West region, and a lot of them while guys are trolling for kingfish. They're found anywhere from a mile out on out to 15 to 20 miles, and the key, Rick, is bait and clean water. Look for the big schools of thread fins, and they'll get right in with the kingfish, and they'll hit troll baits as well as flat lines or free line threads. Like I said, it's not a targeted species, but there's plenty caught. I've got a photo tonight of a nice sailfish taken just this past weekend by Captain Mike Abbott aboard his backhoe yellowfin, and that's Trevor Tilton holding the sailfish. It looks like that sailfish has got legs.
All right, Jeffrey, let's talk about what else you have for me offshore.
Species 2 red grouper, Captain Jason Sherrill of Bad Habit Charters out of Siesta Key, says the big reds are still in their spawn mode and they're feeding good. The water temperature actually dropped since last week's report, and the fish have moved in a little bit to the 110 to 125 range over most hard bottom and breaks. Frozen sardines are still working just as good as the live pinfish and grunts, and the fish are averaging 8 to 14 pounds. I've got a photo tonight of a real nice red grouper taken by old school grouper digger Captain Eddie of Cortez, Florida, while he was out fishing with Captain Jason.
All right, let's go inshore, bud.
Inshore, speckled trout. Rick, we're finally getting our late run of big rode-up specks. They are throughout the entire region, and the Key's been finding some type of food source that's holding on that flat. With the lack of pilchards and thread fins moving in out of the Gulf, they've switched over to silver mullet and pinfish. So just look for those on the flats. Most of the flats are really clean. Start out early throwing that Rapala skitter walk in the silver and black pattern in and around the silver mullet, as well as the transitions where the flats may drop off from 1.5 feet to 3 foot. Also try throwing a corked pinfish or grunt in any of the drop-offs or deeper sand holes, and the trout are averaging 18 to 25 inches. Remember to handle with care and try and release those 20 inchers and over because they're females and they're full of roe, and it takes years for a trout to get that size. I've got a photo tonight of my good buddy Crazy Mike James from Punta Gorda with a personal best 29-incher, Rick, that he got on an olive green Rapala subwalk.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right, what else you got for me?
Species 2, redfish fight remains strong with lots of overslot fish. I talked to a lot of different captains from the north part all the way down to Charlotte Harbor, and they're all saying they're getting oversized. Some of the areas that are holding the bigger redfish are the spoils out front of Catfish in Whiddens Creek, as well as the oyster bars in Palmasola and North Sarasota Bay. Cut chunks of ladyfish or pinfish work real well as the new soft plastic Boss Shiner in the Mama 14-karat gold pattern, and it's as easy as a gold spoon to fish, Rick. You just cast it out, 8-ounce gold jig head or silver jig head, and just throw it as far as you can, and then just steady reel it with your rod in one position, and the reds are averaging 28 to 32 inches.
All right, great report, Jeffrey, from the StarTron Central West region. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the Tires Plus hotspots. Inshore, speckled trout. Big specks are hitting topwater plugs up on the shallow grass flats in and around Tiercia Bay, as well as Lemon Bay. And then offshore, kingfish showing up and around the nearshore artificial reefs in the entire region. Troll lipped X-Wraps or a live blue runner or a threadfin.
A threadfin.
Or just go fishing.
Or just go fishing. Sounds good. All right, well, we know you just can't get enough of the sailfish talk, but don't go away, because when we return, we're going to tell you what species to get excited about next week right here on the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report. Yay! Yay!
A man and his truck, and tofu, and veggie burgers, and raw kale salads. All fine, just not today.
Whatever you do.
Introducing High Country, the premium Silverado.
Do it good.
Silverado, 2014 North American Truck of the Year.
It's 200 streamlined horsepower of Yamaha forward thinking. The all-new F200 inline 4-stroke. Whether you're an offshore angler, pontoon cruiser, bay boater, or walleye hunter, the responsive and fuel-efficient F200 combines amazing power and versatility in one incredibly compact and lightweight package. The all-new F200. Legendary Yamaha reliability and the freedom of forward thinking.
It's been said that a bad day of fishing is better than a good day at the office. But down here in the Florida Keys, we have to disagree. Because with over 200 of the world's best charter boat captains and guides, there's no such thing as a bad day of fishing. The Florida Keys and Key West.
Thanks for tuning in to the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram and Twitter to keep up with all of our captains, contests, and appearances. You don't ever have to miss a show. You can find full episodes of the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report right on your YouTube channel. And don't forget to check out our website for fishing reports in your region. Visit www.ChevyFloridaInsiderFishingReport.com, where you'll find everything you need to know to stay connected. Next week on the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report, we are talking grouper. So make sure to tune in every Sunday to SunSports. Plus, you can catch repeats of the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report on Fridays and Saturdays. Make sure you check your local listings for times. Okay, guys, what's this?
So, Brie, you called me the other day and said,
I don't have any fishing tackle.
Rick, can you get me a tackle box?
I need a tackle box.
I decided to go down to Don's Bait and Tackle in Homestead, and we got this little plain old box. But a tackle box is not a tackle box if the tackle box doesn't have tackle in it.
It's loaded.
So we loaded it up
my
for
gosh.
you. We got one has all, these are suspending or sinking Rapalas. And then this little box is loaded up with all different size topwater Rapalas, along with the 832 extra spool of 410 line that we just featured here over at the Workbench and the new products. And then we often got to have soft plastic, so we have with a clacker bobber, but we also have 4-inch sea shads as well as 5-inch Bass Assassin jerk baits. Okay, but then
smell it.
let's see, they got the good stuff.
Good stuff.
And then we have to have the new latest and greatest from Bass Assassin, which is the Boss Shiner, so that you can be the boss.
Bossette.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Thank you for bailing me out there. I was going to say something other than that. I appreciate your expertise. Yes,
You're
absolutely.
welcome.
But you know what? You got to have some jig heads. So Bass Assassin supplied us with a whole bunch of jig heads from 1/8 ounce to 1/4 ounce to 1/2 ounce, as well as if you're not quite sure what to do,
That's
just
the
put
gold
on
spoon.
the gold spoon. And just throw
Reach
it
for
out
that
and
one
reel
first.
it. It's idiot proof, so
That's right.
obviously it'll work perfectly for Brie or anybody else
Or
that
me.
she takes fish.
Or me too.
Supposed to mean.
I can't wait for you to report back. And don't forget to put all your pictures on Instagram at Official
Insider and Captain Rick Murphy.
Enjoy.
Thanks, guys, for my new tablet.
Enjoy. I didn't have nothing to do with it.
Good
Oh,
job.
get away.
Bye.
Bye.